You've forgotten where you put your keys. Again. You walked into a room and forgot why. You met someone at a party last week, and today, their name is just gone. Now here's the wild part. Somewhere in Africa right now, there's an elephant remembering the exact location of a watering hole she visited once, 30 years ago, during a drought, when she was a baby. Let that sink in. She remembers a path she walked one time, 3 decades back, through a landscape that's changed 100 times since. And you? You can't remember what you had for lunch yesterday. So what's going on here? Why do elephants never forget? Is it just a cute saying, or is there something real behind it? Something bigger, weirder, and honestly more incredible than most people ever stop to think about? Let's find out. Now, before we dive in, if you love this kind of stuff, the strange, amazing secrets hidden inside the animal world, do me one quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Seriously, it takes 2 seconds, and it tells me you want more videos exactly like this one. That's it. That's the whole ask. Now, let's get into it. Here's the first thing nobody tells you. The elephant brain is massive. We're talking about the largest brain of any land animal on the planet. Around 5 kilograms of it. That's more than 3 times the size of your brain. And it's not just show. It's packed with the stuff that matters. But size alone doesn't make you smart. If it did, whales would be running the world. What actually matters is the structure. And the elephant's brain has a temporal lobe, the part linked to memory, that's proportionally larger and more complex than ours. More folded, more connected. More surface area to store, well, everything. Think about that. Evolution looked at this animal and decided memory was so important, so critical to survival, that it built one of the most powerful memory machines in the entire animal kingdom. Why? Why would an animal need to remember so much? The answer is beautiful, and it's all about survival. Here's the thing. Elephants live in some of the harshest places on Earth. Dry savannas, places where water disappears for months, where food is scattered across hundreds of miles, where a wrong turn can mean death. In an environment like that, memory isn't a luxury, it's everything. The leader of an elephant herd is almost always the oldest female. She's called the matriarch, and she's basically a living map, a walking encyclopedia of survival. She remembers where the water is, she remembers the safe routes, she remembers which paths flood in the rainy season and which valleys turn deadly in the heat. And here's the incredible part. Scientists have actually studied this. During severe droughts, herds led by older matriarchs, the ones with more memories, more experience, survived at much higher rates. The young leaders, their herds struggled because they hadn't lived long enough to build the map. Let that land for a second. In the elephant world, an old brain full of memories is the difference between life and death for the entire family. So when we say elephants never forget, we're really talking about a survival system, one that took millions of years to build, one where forgetting could wipe out a whole herd. Okay, this next part gave me chills the first time I learned it. Elephants don't just remember places, they remember individuals, other elephants, and humans. There are documented cases of elephants recognizing a person they hadn't seen in decades. Trainers who left came back 20 years later, and the elephant reacted instantly. Excitement, recognition, like no time had passed at all. But it goes deeper and darker than that. Elephants also remember people who hurt them. Researchers found that elephants can tell the difference between different groups of humans, even by the color of their clothing and the language they speak. In parts of Africa, certain tribes have historically hunted elephants, others haven't. And guess what? Elephants react with fear and aggression to the sight and sound of the hunting tribe, but stay calm around the others. They're not just remembering, they're categorizing. Threat, friend, danger, safe. That's not instinct. That's memory doing math. Here's something almost nobody talks about, and it blew my mind. A huge part of elephant memory is tied to sound. Specifically, sounds you literally cannot hear. Elephants communicate using something called infrasound, deep, low rumbles that travel below the range of human hearing. These sounds can travel for miles. Some estimates say up to 6 miles or more across open ground. And here's where memory comes in. Elephants recognize the individual calls of other elephants, family members, old friends. They can hear a rumble from miles away and know exactly who's making it. Studies have shown that an elephant can recognize and remember the calls of over 100 different individuals. 100! You probably can't recognize 100 people by voice alone, but an elephant can, and store those voices for years. So picture this. An elephant hears a distant rumble carried across the plain, and in her mind, she pulls up a memory. That's her. I know that voice. I haven't heard it in years. And she responds. They're holding entire relationships together with sounds we can't even detect. This one's hard to talk about, but it's maybe the most powerful proof of all. Remember, they're dead. When an elephant comes across the bones of another elephant, even one they never knew, they stop, they slow down, they reach out with their trunks and gently touch the bones, the skull, the tusks. They'll stand there, quiet, almost reverent. And if it's a family member, the reaction is even stronger. Elephants have been seen returning to the place where a loved one died, years later, touching the same bones, standing in the same spot. Scientists call it something close to mourning, grief, and you can't grieve something you don't remember. Think about what that means. This animal carries not just facts and maps and survival routes, it carries loss. It carries the memory of who's gone. That's not just memory. That's something a whole lot closer to us than we ever imagined. But there's a flip side to a memory this powerful, and it's heartbreaking. Elephants can remember trauma, and it changes them. Young elephants who witness violence, poaching, the loss of their family, the death of their matriarch, can carry that trauma for the rest of their lives. Researchers have documented behavior in these elephants that looks strikingly like PTSD, the same condition humans get after war or disaster. They become anxious, aggressive, unpredictable, because the memory doesn't fade, it stays, sharp and painful, year after year. And here's the tragic connection. Remember that matriarch, the old female who holds all the survival knowledge? When poachers target the biggest elephants for their tusks, they're not just killing an animal, they're erasing a library. Decades of memory, gone in an instant. And the herd left behind loses its map, its guide, its memory keeper. The memory that makes elephants so extraordinary is the same thing that makes losing them so devastating. All right, let's be honest for a second. Do elephants literally never forget anything? No, of course not. No brain is perfect. They forget small things just like every other animal. But the core of the saying, the idea that elephants hold on to the things that matter, faces, places, dangers, relationships, loss, for years, sometimes for decades, that part is absolutely incredibly true. Their memory isn't magic, it's evolution. It's millions of years of a world that punished forgetting and rewarded remembering. In a place where water hides, danger lurks, and family is everything, the elephants who remembered survived, and they passed that gift down, generation after generation. Now let's zoom out, because here's what really gets me. We humans built libraries, we built books, hard drives, the internet, all these tools to store what we couldn't hold in our own heads. We outsourced our memory. But the elephant? She carries her entire library inside her. The map of the water, the faces of her friends, the voice of her family, the memory of the ones she's lost. All of it. Walking across the savannah, holding a lifetime of knowledge in a single ancient mind. She doesn't need books. She is the book. And every time an elephant leads her herd to water during a drought, using a memory from 30 years ago, she's proving something. That memory isn't just about the past. It's about survival. It's about family. It's about love. So the next time you forget where you put your keys, don't feel too bad. You've got Google. You've got sticky notes. You've got reminders on your phone. The elephant never had any of that. She just has to remember. And somehow, she does. That's not just a good memory. That's one of the most beautiful survival stories nature ever wrote.